What's up, Taiwan? I'm Yvonne. Thanks for joining us on TaiwanPlus. Prosecutors have questioned several people connected to the opposition Kuomintang over alleged recall fraud. It's just the latest in a growingly heated mass recall campaign against dozens of Taiwanese lawmakers that has been plagued by lawsuits and investigations. Leslie Liao has more.
Authenticity is the name of the game in Taiwan's mass legislator recall movement. Taiwan's ruling Democratic Progressive Party and the opposition Kuomintang are locked in a tense campaign to remove each other's lawmakers. Part of that process involves collecting signatures from the public to officially petition the government to initiate a vote to remove legislators from office. But it seems authorities have found problems with the validity of some of those signatures. In the past 2 days, prosecutors have questioned several people connected to the KMT over allegedly fraudulent signatures on petitions. Among them are members of the party's youth league. This comes after allegations that the names of deceased people have showed up on recall petitions targeting DPP lawmakers, including one against the party's Legislative Caucus Secretary General Wu Siyao. Wu has attributed blame to KMT leadership, including party chair Eric Zhu.
不要藏起来，朱立伦不要躲在年轻人的身后。
One of the people brought in for questioning works for KMT legislator Luo Ziqiang's office. Luo, who is also targeted in the mass recall campaign, said the investigation was politically motivated.
民进党全面歼灭在野党计划已经正式启动。对民进党、对赖清德喊话：不要找我团队的麻烦，要清算冲着罗志强来。
This saga seems far from over. According to the Central Election Commission, or CEC, of the 61 recall petitions it received, 41 potentially contained falsified or the so-called ghost signatures. It has reported all of them to prosecutors for further probing. When asked about this, CEC Chair Li Jinyong didn't reveal if those are campaigns against the KMT or the DPP, but emphasized the commission has treated all recall petitions equally.
我们也希望大家能够以此为鉴，因为第二阶段的联署目前还在进行当中，我们希望大家都要共同遵守法律的规定。
The rest, Li said, the CEC will leave up to judicial authorities. Klein Wang and Leslie Liao for TaiwanPlus.
Vietnam has signed dozens of deals with China during Chinese President Xi Jinping's visit to Hanoi. After holding talks with Vietnam's Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh and Communist Party General Secretary To Lam, the two countries agreed to strengthen ties in production, supply chains, and transportation. The talks come amid ongoing tariff tensions with the U.S., with Beijing hit with duties of 145% and Hanoi of 46%. Xi addressed the U.S.'s measures in an editorial published in both Vietnam and China, saying there are no winners in a trade war or a tariff war. The Chinese leader is set to visit Malaysia and Cambodia. U.S. President Donald Trump now says Chinese President Xi Jinping's visit to Vietnam is targeting the U.S. To learn more about Xi's Southeast Asia trip, our reporter Adil Brar spoke to Jia Yan Chong, Associate Professor of Political Science at National University of Singapore.
Chinese President Xi Jinping is aiming to work with Vietnam to counter the U.S. tariffs. What does this entail, and how receptive is Hanoi to this?
So there's a good chance that Hanoi will say some of the things that Beijing likes to hear. But ultimately, Hanoi, I think, will be wary about being too dependent on the PRC. And they will also be wary about upsetting the United States. So I think Hanoi will ultimately still try to find ways of negotiating with Washington, even as it tries to perhaps satisfy Xi Jinping at least rhetorically.
Can China rely on Southeast Asian countries to offset the challenges it faces from the U.S. tariffs?
The PRC will try, but it's going to be difficult. It'll be difficult because even prior to the tariffs, the last round of the US-PRC trade war has seen the PRC divert some of its trade towards Southeast Asia. That has led to some complaints of overcapacity, that has led to some concerns about local businesses being put under pressure by cheaper Chinese goods, especially small and medium-sized enterprises. The current round of the trade war will likely intensify these pressures. So Southeast Asia, I think, while they want opportunities to cooperate with the PRC, they will be wary of overcapacity and protection of their own industries too. At the same time, I think what the PRC can offer is somewhat limited.
How will the US respond if Vietnam agrees to expand trade with China, as the Trump administration is working towards closing the trade loopholes?
So I believe the Trump administration will at least respond strongly in rhetoric to Beijing. It may slap on more punishment, more tariffs, but at this point, any additional tariff, the sort of effect is already more muted. We're in the area of sort of diminishing marginal returns for additional tariffs. The question is whether the Trump administration also decides to punish Vietnam and Hanoi. So I guess that is where Hanoi will be, I think, quite quick to try to assure Washington that it does not seek to act in ways that are detrimental to U.S. interests.
That was Jia Yan Chong, a political scientist at the National University of Singapore. A new art exhibition in Taipei is raising awareness of Hong Kong's struggle for democracy and Beijing's crackdown in response. It comes as Taiwan is re-examining its relationship with Hong Kongers nearly 5 years after massive anti-government protests in the territory. Rick Gower reports.
An expression of Hong Kong's dwindling press freedom. Origami made from one of the last ever pro-democracy newspapers in the city, now on display in Taiwan. Part of an exhibition showing how Hong Kong stood up to Chinese rule and demanded democracy, and how Beijing brutally cracked down. Protest art like this could see Hong Kongers put in jail for subversion in their city. Organisers say free and democratic Taiwan has a responsibility to tell Hong Kong's story.
虽然中国并没有统治台湾，但是中国影响香港的方式，其实一定程度上还是影响了台湾。所以这也是台湾社会为什么要举办这样的展览，或者是跟香港朋友一起去面对一个独裁的政权一样。
Taiwan could face a fate just like Hong Kong's. China also claims Taiwan as its territory and threatens to take it by force. Many people here saw Hong Kong's struggle as their own, supporting the city's pro-democracy activists as they stood up to the Chinese Communist Party. And when Beijing moved to suppress them, many dissidents found refuge in Taiwan. Taiwan's relationship with Hong Kongers is changing. Since the 2019 protests, the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, has tightened its grip on Hong Kong, dismantling a once free press and independent legislature. And Hong Kongers in Taiwan are now being looked at with greater suspicion.
When the revolution of our time started, Hong Kongers were seen as a defiance of CCP. It is our sad fate that the identity of Hong Kong is slowly changing and manipulated by the CCP.
Taiwan is mulling stricter immigration rules for Hong Kong citizens, something it says is necessary to crack down on Chinese espionage.
There may be some national security concern in certain cases, and government they need more time to review it. And it would be also very important for Taiwanese government to restore the confidence in the Hong Kong immigrants.
Trust is low among Hong Kongers. The city's artists travel to Taiwan in secret to share their art, careful not to reveal their identity even here, knowing the long reach of the Chinese Communist Party. This exhibition is a show of support for Hong Kong's struggle against Beijing. But as the Communist Party tightens its grip of the city, Taiwan is also having to re-examine how it treats those from Hong Kong. Easton Chen and Rick Lowett for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Finally, we go to Mexico to meet this bottlenose dolphin who has become a popular tourist attraction. I'm Yvonne Yang. Take care, and I'll see you next time.